Every single day in America, something mysterious happens in delivery rooms across the country. And if you look at the data, you'll notice something weird. For every 100 baby girls born, there are 105 baby boys. Why? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of nature's most consistent, yet least understood patterns. In October 2025 alone, the U.S. sex ratio at birth stood at 104.9 boys per 100 girls. That translates to approximately 51.2% male births versus 48.8% female births. But here's what's really fascinating. This pattern has remained remarkably consistent since 1940, with the sex ratio varying only between 1,046 to 1,059 male births per 1,000 female births over more than 60 years. Let's break down the numbers for 2025. Out of 3.62 million births, about 51% were boys, which is around 1.85 million. The other 49% were girls, about 1.77 million. That's a difference of over 80,000 more boys than girls every single year. Since 1940, an average of 91,685 more male babies have been born each year than females. That's a total of 5,776,130 over that 63-year period. That's like the entire population of Wisconsin. Just extra boys. So why does this happen? Scientists have three main theories. The first is evolutionary compensation. Male fetuses and infants face slightly higher mortality risks, so the extra males at birth help maintain population balance as cohorts age. Think of it as nature's insurance policy to ensure a roughly even split by the time we reach reproductive age. The second theory is about a biological advantage. Some researchers believe that sperm carrying the Y chromosome might be slightly faster or more likely to fertilize an egg. Others think it is related to differences in the success rates of male versus female embryos implanting in the uterus. The exact mechanism is still up for debate, but it points to a slight built-in advantage for conceiving boys. And the third theory involves maternal factors. Now, before you think this is just an American thing, it's not. The natural sex ratio at birth is estimated to be about 1.05 worldwide, staying within a narrow range from 1.03 to 1.06 males per female. It's a global human phenomenon. But here's where it gets dark. Some countries have sex ratios far outside that natural range of 1.03 to 1.07. Scholars suggest this reflects sex-selective practices rather than natural variation. On the other hand, several African nations, including Angola, Botswana, and Namibia, have reported birth sex ratios between 0.94 and 0.99. That means more girls are born than boys in those regions, which is a complete reversal of the global norm, which proves we still don't fully understand what controls this ratio. So let's bring this back to October 2024. That month saw roughly 296,000 births in the U.S., which was actually down 5.73% from previous months. This is part of a larger trend. The U.S. fertility rate remains around 1.6 births per woman, which is well below the 2.1 needed to maintain the country's population solely through births. To give you some perspective, back in 2007, we were at a peak of 4.31 million births per year. By 2023, that number had dropped to 3.59 million, before a slight uptick to 3.62 million in 2024. That is still a decline of about 16% since 2007. But here's what hasn't changed. Even as fewer babies are born, that 51 to 49 boy-to-girl ratio, rock solid. Economic crashes, pandemics, major social changes, the ratio barely moves. So what does this mean for America's future? The demographic ripples are fascinating. Among children under 5 years old, there are 9.8 million boys compared to 9.4 million girls. But this flips dramatically as people age. By age 85 and older, there are only 57.5 males for every 100 females, because women tend to live longer. This consistent surplus of boys has several key implications. First, for the workforce, it means more young men entering the labor market each year. Second, it affects dating and marriage math, creating slight gender ratio imbalances in dating pools, especially for young adults. Third, it provides a larger pool of potential service members for military recruitment. And fourth, it has an impact on healthcare planning, as gender-specific health resources need to be adjusted for these population skews. But the real question is, will this pattern ever change? With genetic engineering advancing, with climate change potentially affecting hormone levels. With microplastics being found everywhere, are we watching the last generation where nature controls the boy-to-girl ratio? Here's the thing about data like this. Most people never see it. Most people don't even know these patterns exist. But hidden in government databases, birth certificates, and statistical reports are stories that explain our world. That's where Data Focus Official comes in. We don't just crunch numbers, we decode them. We dive into birth rates, migration patterns, HEO trends, and economic shifts. If there's a signal in the noise, we find it. Want the full birth data breakdown by state, ethnicity, and age? Follow Data Focus Official on our social channels. Comment the word ratio on this video, and we'll send you a link to the research report. And make sure you subscribe for our weekly data deep dives. Because the numbers tell stories. You just need to know how to read them. Thanks for watching.